Assalamu alaikum. What is meta-awareness? In simple terms, it means being aware that you are aware. It's the moment when awareness turns back onto itself, when the light of consciousness recognizes itself. Most of the time, our attention is captured by thoughts, emotions, sensations, memories, desires. We're inside the movie of our experience, completely absorbed in it. But when meta-awareness arises, something shifts. You suddenly see the seeing. You notice that you are aware. You realize, I'm thinking, or I'm feeling this, or I'm reacting right now. That noticing changes everything. You step out of identification and into witnessing. You move from being the actor in the scene to the one watching the scene unfold. That moment of awareness is the birth of presence, the awakening of the inner witness. It's what allows you to see the movements of your mind, the play of your emotions, the subtle intentions that drives you without being swept away by them. And it's from that point that true wisdom begins to unfold. But this meta-awareness does not appear by chance. It must be cultivated. And meditation is the way to do it. Yes, meditation can calm the mind and relax the body. It can bring peace and well-being. But these are only side effects. The deeper purpose of meditation is to develop this meta-awareness, to train the capacity to know that you are aware. And that can only be achieved through repetition. We sit, we get distracted, we notice it, we let it go, and we return to the position of the witness again and again. Every time we notice that we are lost in thought, we come back, and each return strengthens the power of awareness itself. This is the first step. With regular practice, we begin to familiarize ourselves with the position of witness. That's why in Tibetan, the word for meditation is gom. It means to become familiar. We are learning to become familiar with our true nature, our original state, and slowly it becomes natural again. We are not creating something new. We are re-establishing what was always there, rediscovering the stillness that never left us. This process is not about stopping thoughts. Thoughts may come. Let them come. If you let them come, they will go. You observe them as the sky observes the clouds drifting through it. The sky does not grasp. It does not resist. It simply is. Its nature is open, vast, silent, and still. These are also qualities of the natural awareness we are regaining. At first, we must stop chasing thoughts. Later, we simply recognize and rest as the awareness that never chases anything. Stillness, silence, and spaciousness. I call it a state, but it's not really a state, because it does not change. It is what remains through every state. This is the position of the witness, in Arabic, ash-shahid. When the recognition of being a witness becomes familiar through meditation, it becomes easier to return to it in the midst of daily life. As soon as we remember, we come back. Each time we do, we strengthen the remembrance. And this remembrance gradually begins to carry itself. It becomes our natural condition, the background awareness that remains between meditation sessions. But again, this is not a state. States come and go. What we are speaking of here is our natural position, the position of awareness itself. And from this position, we begin to perceive our intentions as they arise in the flow of daily life. This allows us to continue the purification of the heart, to see, refine, and align our intentions in real time, moment by moment. When I become aware that I'm aware, something subtle but profound shifts. I am no longer inside the stream of thoughts and emotions. I am aware of the stream. I see what is happening in my awareness rather than being carried by it. And when I look more closely, I notice something remarkable. There is always an intention present. Even when I'm not paying attention, some small current of will is flowing, directing my energy towards something: comfort, control, recognition, safety, pleasure. I am never without intention. But if I'm not conscious of it, the intention remains hidden, operating in the dark, steering my life without my consent. The moment meta-awareness arises, the moment I see my intention, a doorway opens. Now I can choose. Only in that moment does free will become real. When I notice the intention clearly, I can decide. Do I wish to nourish this movement or let it go? Is it sincere or self-serving? Is it rooted in love or in fear? The ability to ask these questions marks the birth of freedom. It is as if I have taken back the helm of my ship. Before, I was being driven. Now I can steer. As Gurdjieff once said, this attention is the beginning of real consciousness, and this will is the beginning of free will. That is the threshold where spiritual life truly begins, when attention becomes conscious and will begins to awaken. It is very similar to what happens in lucid dreaming. People who train in lucid dreaming learn to become aware during their dreams, while they are asleep. At some point, they realize, this is a dream, and from that realization, they begin to dream consciously. And then they can change the nature of the dream at will. In the Tibetan tradition, this is known as Milam Neljor, the yoga of dreaming. Milam means dream, and Neljor means yoga or spiritual discipline. So it literally means the spiritual discipline of the dream state, the yoga of seeing the dream. The purpose of this practice is not merely to control the dream, but to wake up within it, to recognize that the dream is a projection of the mind, and that awareness itself is untouched by it. Once this skill is developed, it can be applied during the waking state. For our ordinary waking life is in many ways another kind of dream, a web of automatic reactions, unconscious intentions, and habitual stories about who we are and what we want. When meta-awareness arises, it is as if we become lucid in the waking dream. We begin to live consciously, to see our intentions as intentions, to recognize the dreamlike nature of our thoughts and identities. That is when we begin to live a lucid waking life. Humans have been created with free will, unlike animals. Animals act according to instinct. They do not choose their will. But we, as human beings, have been given the sacred capacity to choose our intentions, to direct our will. The spiritual path is the journey from no free will, being governed by unconscious impulses, to reclaiming free will and aligning it with the will of Allah. At first, we live under the illusion of control, believing that our will belongs to us. Then, through awareness, we realize we are not as free as we thought. Our choices are shaped by fear, habit, and desire. Through self-observation and remembrance, we begin to operate a degree of true control. We become able to choose, to act consciously, to live as human beings rather than instinctive creatures. As Ouspensky wrote, desire is when you do what you want. Will is when you can do what you do not want. That is the mark of a conscious human being, the ability to act from awareness rather than from inclination, to follow what is true rather than what is easy. And then something deeper occurs. We surrender even that control. We entrust our will to the divine will. We go from one slavery to another, first slaves of our lower self and its impulses, then servants of the Most High. The first slavery is bondage. The second is freedom. When you become the slave of Allah by conforming your will to His, you can say as Hafiz said, I am the slave of the will of the one who, under the blue sky, is free from anything that takes the color of attachment. And when your will is completely in harmony with Allah's will, You begin to taste what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam conveyed in his Hadith Qudsi, where Allah says, "My servant continues to draw near to me through voluntary acts of devotion until I love him, and when I love him, I become the hearing with which he hears, the sight with which he sees, and the hand with which he grasps, and the foot with which he walks. And if he asks of me, I shall surely give him, and if he seeks refuge in me, I shall surely protect him." The word voluntary indicates the presence of free will. This is the perfection of will, when nothing remains but the divine will, flowing through every thought, every word, every breath. At first I say, I choose. Later I see I am being moved. And finally I realize there is only the one who moves. When awareness matures, remembrance becomes continuous. You no longer have to remind yourself to be present. Awareness itself remembers. That is the unfolding of freedom, from unconsciousness to choice, from choice to surrender, from surrender to peace. Assalamu alaikum.